Kyle,
Yes.
in your home, would you build an optical illusion room?
Ooh, yes.
Good.
I feel like if I did something like that, I would want it to be one of the like not cheap, but the like world's largest something something. Right? And it's like world's largest wavy room where it looks like it's twisting, but it's not, right?
Ah,
Or something like that. I think that'd be fun.
I recently went to the Museum of Illusions here in St. Louis,
Oh,
which
cool.
is not a real museum. Have you ever been to a Ripley's, believe it or not?
I actually have, believe it or not.
Okay, I believe you. Y- You know the parts of a Ripley's, believe it or not, that are just the weird optical illusion rooms and you don't really learn anything and it contains no actual history? This is
Yeah.
a museum, big air quotes around museum.
It's
This is
an
a walkthrough
illusion of a
experience.
museum.
It's the illusion of a museum. It's an incredible simulation of a museum.
Right,
It's
yeah.
just that. It's just walk through weird rooms.
That's fun
Uh,
though.
right. And there's the classic big small room. And I don't remember its formal name, but you know the one with the forced perspective where one
Right.
corner goes back way farther than the other corner and somebody stands in the far corner and they look much smaller than the person who stands in the corner closer to the door. And then you walk to each other, you switch places and it's like somebody grows and somebody shrinks when you take a video. We all
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
What's and I realized what's stopping anyone from just doing that in their home? It doesn't seem that
I
hard.
yeah, that's the thing. Like if you build something like that in your home, you're going to want to show it off, right? And I I I feel like it's zoning districts of like is your house able to have a business run out of
Well,
it,
hold on.
right?
Hold on. We don't need to make this into a business because, like I said, everybody's seen a big small room. We know, there's a big small room, probably three in every state. They're not hard to get to. It wouldn't be a business, but it would be like a party trick or like
Ah.
a thing to show friends, family, neighbors, and dates and business
Hey guys, have
contacts
you heard that my house is larger on the inside than it is on the outside?
from a
Here's
certain
the dark
angle.
room. Yeah. Go in there. We'll see you next week when you come out.
You've got a room in your house that's just for your cats. The cats
Kind
don't
of.
care if they're in a big, small room. Wouldn't it
Yeah.
be funny if you built a big, small room and then your cats change sizes?
That would be kind
I
of wild.
right? I've never heard of anybody doing this, but it seems so feasible and so fun to me. I don't know if I shall ever have the resources to do it myself, but in my lifetime, I want to see a private, big, small room.
Private, big, small room. Wild. I'm now imagining like a sign for like world's largest ball of yarn, but it's an illusion that my cats go in the room, and as they approach, they get bigger and bigger, and they are like 3 times the size of the ball of yarn there, and it's just like, whoa, how is that happening? Magic, magic is how.
Yeah, I
Good
think
stuff.
optical illusions are lost on cats. I don't know if there are
I
optical illusions that an animal can see. I don't know if a rabbit can look at that image that's half a duck and half a rabbit and be amazed that it's half itself. I don't know if that registers with them.
they do see stuff on TV and will be like, what was that? No, but I don't. That's probably just them being like, what was that weird light flash that went across the screen, right? Um,
They're not like, is that a vase or two faces?
right, yeah. They will. So one of my cats, Simba, he's an orange cat, which orange cats are kind of known for having one brain cell. Um, we had to wash one of our bathroom mats because one of the cats threw up on it. So we put down a towel on the bathroom floor, and it was some beach towel that had it was like an image of an aquarium, so that, you know, there's like rocks and coral reef and little fish swimming around, and there's the like clownfish looking things that look like Nemo.
Mhm.
And my cat sees this fish and is just so suspicious, just like, what what is that?
A
And
good
like
way to put
starts,
it.
right, like starts pawing at it with his foot, just like, what, why is that so bright orange? Like, I'm orange, but not that orange. Like he's just like, he's so suspicious, and it's so funny because then I'll like barely move my foot, like when you scrape your foot on the floor and it makes that like sound, and he'll like jump and be like, what the hell, man, like that fish almost got me. So it's like, I feel like there has to be some kind of optical illusion happening for him right there. Like, why is this orange so uh, orange? Like, why is it popping off the
Wow.
rest of the thing that like nothing else is? I don't know.
Uh, I've never thought about that before, that an animal is encountering a neon color for the first time and has no concept of what that is.
Right?
At
Yeah.
our local art museum, there was a exhibit on artworks created under the Work Project Administration, one of the 1930s Great Depression FDR projects to just get people in the country working and creating art.
Sure. Yeah.
And it was a big wall of these paintings that these kids in the school had done under this project. And just very simple, flat tempera paint on construction paper paintings by like 9-year-olds. And one of the kids painted him and his dog in the field, and there's a plane in the air, and he's pointing at the plane and showing it to his dog. And I'd never thought of that before. There must be a time when a dog sees a plane for the first time, and you have
Yeah.
to try and get your dog to understand what that is. What is plane?
Yeah. Yeah. That it, or just weird to think that, like, not that, I mean, because any dog, just as any human, has that experience of like the first time you see a plane and can like recognize, oh, that's a plane, and you're not just like, I'm little baby, I don't understand the world. um but just the fact that like, what, 1903 is when planes first got started, right? So dogs before 1903, what were they thinking, right, when these things just suddenly appear in the sky? Like, what the hell? What are these things? Birds don't do that.
Right. Dog can't hunt plane like bird.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to number 296 of the Whatnauts Captain's Log. My name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined by Melissa Wilkinson. Melissa, who knew that they are making a sequel to Escape at Dannemora? Have you heard about this news story?
No.
10 inmates from a prison in New Orleans
Oh, I
escaped.
did hear about this.
Right, yeah. Apparently, like yesterday or today, some like maintenance worker was arrested for like helping them to stop the water to their cell that helped them move the toilet to like make a tunnel, all of that stuff. I think at the moment, at least 6 of them have been found. I haven't really gotten an update, but they left a note in the cell that said "too easy," like written on the wall there. And
It's funny.
this is exactly the plot of Escape at Dannemora. Like,
Yeah,
what is happening?
but with more paintings and more threesomes. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
10 is a lot.
10
10 is
is,
the
that's
most
kind of
people
wild.
I think I've only ever heard of like 3 people max getting out of a jail altogether. 10 is a
Yeah.
lot of administrative work, just organizing among all of you. How do you get to
That
10?
that was what was happening in season 1 of Prison Break. That, like, that's what I was asking myself. How did he get to 10? Like, there's 10
Right.
of them escaping now.
That That was season 1 of Prison Break is very funny in that he goes in to break out him and his brother, and then he has a roommate, and he's like, "Well, I guess I have to let my roommate in on this, I can't hide it from him." And then somebody else finds out, and it's like, "Well, we have to bring this guy. We have to bring Westmoreland, we have to bring Zeno, we have to bring T-Bag."
Yeah,
They
right?
just keep
Yeah.
piling on and on and on, and eventually it is a caravan.
I will say season 1 of Prison Break was actually great. I really liked that show in
No
that
arguments
first
there.
season. After that, it quickly went downhill
You
and off
you
the
you
rails. But
you say that like it's news. I think Prison Break season 1
God,
incredible, fo following seasons of Prison Break subpar is, like, one of the few things all people
one of the
agree
least
on.
hot takes
Right.
of anything. But it's one of those
Sky
things that's just so true. That's just like, man, they had something, right?
Sky is blue, water is wet, season 1 of Prison Break is
Break is
better than the
good.
subsequent seasons of Prison
Melissa, let's go to our cinema corner because we have a lot of stuff
Certainly.
to get through for this podcast here. So let's move right along into our stuff. What have you been watching? What have you been checking out?
Mostly I've just been rewatching the last couple Mission Impossible movies to prepare for the final reckoning, but we'll get to that later. In theaters, I saw one new movie and one old movie. The new movie I saw was Hurry Up Tomorrow. Do you
Yeah.
know this?
I've seen the trailer. I don't know much.
Okay.
This is the one with The Weeknd, right? And it's like his
Yes.
final performance as The Weeknd.
Only in that I think he's going by his given name, Abel Tesfaye, from here on out.
Right.
I think he's retiring the
the
stage name.
persona. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. It's him, Barry Keoghan, and Jenna Ortega. And pretty much just the three of them. I was surprised at what a bottle movie this is. Maybe
Okay.
not a bottle movie, but like it's got a very, very small scope where The Weeknd is The Weeknd. He plays himself. And Barry Keoghan is his like
he'll be playing Monday in his next feature film. Anyways.
he's wearing Dockers. That's his new persona. Hi, I'm the work week.
Yeah.
Barry Keoghan is his party boy manager. Jenna Ortega is a fan who travels across the country and does a lot of intense things to get to see him. And the two of them encounter each other at his concert and end up spending time together.
Mhm.
This is a weird one. It's both way too fast and way too slow.
It kind of felt like that. Like, I don't know if I would really call it a horror from the trailer. It
No.
almost looked like a thriller, but not necessarily. But like, yeah, with this whole thing of him being like, this is my final performance as The Weeknd. That's also like a weird note. So
Mhm.
what was it exactly?
It's an art thriller where it's hard to be The Weeknd, and he lives his life very intensely, and his voice is gonna go out. And they're like, "You shouldn't sing anymore. Like, give your voice a rest." And he wants to cancel the concert. Barry Keoghan is like, "No, bro, I think you should do it. I think you've got it in you. Come on." So he starts to do the concert. His voice fails on him
Mm.
like a song in. He runs off stage, but not before he makes eye contact with Jenna Ortega. The two of them have a fun night where they like go to Coney Island. They spend the night together, and then when he tries to leave, she like ties him to the bed and is like, "I'm worried about you. Stay here until I can really talk to you and get to know you and get through to you. Let me play you some of your songs. I can tell what you were feeling. Well, let's get in touch with your feelings here." I don't know. It's a movie that I don't feel like very much actually happened. But boy, is it shot impressively. The camera, the cinematography, and lighting teams working overtime on that one. Boy, howdy.
Interesting.
A feast for the eyes.
Cool.
It's mostly camera angles. I think camera angles are the top billed star above The Weeknd.
Melissa, I think most movies are camera angles.
But not to the degree that this is. You know what I'm talking about.
I know. I'm giving you a hard
Sometimes
time.
there's many films where the camera is the means to an end, and sometimes there are films where the camera is the end.
Sure, yeah.
This is that.
I
It
gotcha.
I recommend it to you in the lens of past films we've enjoyed together, such as Perfect Blue or maybe
Yeah.
Black Swan, Persona,
Okay.
the artist on the edge genre of film. It is another installation of that very specific little subgenre.
Okay. That makes me a lot more interested in that. I'm not a big fan of The Weeknd's music, just by the fact that I haven't really checked out his catalog, right? Um, so yeah, I was just like, all right, that I don't really need to watch that one, but that makes it a lot more interesting for me.
Mhm.
So good stuff.
The
Good stuff.
the old movie I went to go see as part of Alamo Drafthouse's 1975 time capsule was Nashville. Oddly enough, another movie about a musician on the edge.
There you go.
This is a Robert Altman film, and I know Robert Altman by reputation more than by actual experience. I've
Huh,
seen Gosford Park, and that's it.
I'm
I've
not sure
not
I'm
really seen his
familiar.
work. Robert Altman is a director from the latter half of the 20th century known for movies with massive casts, tons and tons of people, big, long, shambling, rambling things with a lot of people talking over each other. That's his
Okay.
trademark. Just very grounded, down to earth, naturalistic to the point of not necessarily being clear.
Hmm.
Like I said,
Gotcha.
everybody just talking over each other in the movie, which is not how a movie goes, but that's how life goes plenty of times. So that's what the movies
Right.
are.
Right. Yeah.
I had I'd heard Nashville spoken of very highly. I knew it was a portrait of the city, Nashville in the
Mhm.
70s and of existing big country western stars and people trying to make it and all of these different storylines and how they weave together. It's a long movie. It's like 2.5 hours. And it starts as it kind of reminded me of the Muppet movie. The Muppet
Interesting.
movie is just both literally Shaggy and that they're made out of like fur and felt, but like narratively Shaggy, rambly, people come in, people go, everybody wants to be a big star. You understand?
Kinda. Yeah.
It starts like that.
A movie
And
that
then
feels like they have to fit everyone in at some point, right?
yeah, right, a loud, busy, crowded movie with a million people in it, and you're like, "You're still introducing new people? You're not done yet? How many
Right.
more can you have?" And it's largely a comedy, kind of a sad comedy, kind of a
Okay.
pitiful comedy. Good at being a comedy, but a comedy about sad people. And then it takes a turn, just a really devastating turn where it becomes something much bigger than what you thought it was.
Hmm.
Uh, I wept at the magnitude of this film.
Okay. That feels
Nashville
like
is
high praise.
Nashville is a movie the same way that the Grand Canyon is a hole in the ground.
And how
On its
all
surface,
movies are camera angles.
right? On its surface, it is something very simple, and the fact that it starts out being so simple, it's just sort of like exaggerated slice of life and then becomes weightier and weightier in ways that I was not expecting or
Interesting.
paying attention. It sneaks up on you. There's films that announce themselves as pictures of great magnitude in history. Think of an Oppenheimer, think of The Brutalist, you know?
Megalopolis.
Right, right. But this is a movie that does not seem like it's doing that and then all of a sudden is doing that. And I found that very effective.
Cool. Interesting. Interesting. I like the way you described it as it kind of starts out as something just real simple, real
Mhm.
plain. Because one of my favorite comic book writers, Brian K. Vaughan, I always like his the stories of his that I tend to like the most are the ones where he just takes some very simple concept and turns it into something. Um, every child has felt like their parents are the bad guy.
Yeah.
So what if I make a book about a bunch of kids who feel that, or who find out their parents are super villains, right? And that's how you get the Marvel's Runaways, and it's fantastic, right? So yeah, that sounds interesting.
What have you been watching?
I have not made it out to a movie theater recently. Well, actually, let me. What was the last? Did I get to mention this on screen? What was the last thing? Let me go in my notes. I always keep track of what I've been
Me too.
reading and watching, all of that stuff. I guess the last two I saw in theaters was Sinners and Thunderbolts. My mom literally texted me about 5 minutes ago while we were here on the podcast that they saw Sinners. She thought it was bizarre and loved the music.
Good.
There you go. But I finally got to check out Saturday Night. Speaking of the weekend,
Saturday night is a good comp for what most of Nashville feels like. If
interesting.
Saturday
Okay, yeah.
night ended with truly devastating acts, that's kind of what Nashville is.
Interesting. Yeah, we had wanted to go see this while it was in theaters, just never really got around to it. Can't say that I'm a big Saturday Night Live fan. I haven't really. I've seen skits here and there, or as they say, like not skits, sketches.
Sketches.
Right. Yeah, it's just not something I've ever really kept up on, but I can recognize its like importance in culture,
Mm,
in pop culture. And so this is one that I was kind of interested in, and seemed like from the trailers was going to be kind of like an Uncut Gems type of just things happening constantly. It's nonstop, everything is moving and everything is on fire and breaking. And it maybe was not as tense as Uncut Gems, but
mhm.
is certainly in that same wheelhouse where things are constantly moving. It's one issue after the next, and in mostly real time. The like 90 minutes leading up to when the first Saturday Night Live happened, and it was pretty good. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Um,
Good.
it was interesting to see, like I immediately recognized not the actor who was playing him, but I recognized that he was playing Chevy Chase, stuff like that. um yeah, it was just a fascinating thing to see. I liked the actor that was playing Lorne Michaels. That's his name, right?
Yeah, Gabriel LaBelle from The Fablemans.
What else is he in? Because
The
I
Fablemans.
well, yes, but like, what else besides the Fablemans is he? What would
He
I know
so
him from?
Nothing.
Okay,
He has not acted much. Steven Spielberg discovered him and said, "You're gonna play me in the
well,
movie about my life, The Fablemans."
I thought he was
Gabriel LaB
fantastic in this.
I like I like him a lot. There's a movie called Snack Shack that
Yeah,
he's
the
in
one
that
you've
is
mentioned that one.
Snack Shack was one of my favorite movies of last year, and it has all of the frantic chaos that I wanted out of Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live, I wanted it even more severe. I wa
Right, right,
I wanted
yeah.
an even bumpier ride.
Yeah. But yeah, that was fun. I don't really have much else to say on that. The other thing, I finally got around to watching Russian Doll on
Mm,
Netflix. The series about time travel ish, or like stuck in like a Groundhog's Day style loop. I thought it was interesting. Not my favorite. I really liked her.
Yes. Yes.
Like, if nothing else, her. Like, she's awesome. Natasha Leone kills it in this role. I love the accent, the like constantly chain smoking like New York accent. It's
It's
just wonderful. The
and it's
the
amazing how thoroughly that just seems to be her in every context. I watched her in the Criterion Closet. Have
uh-huh.
you seen those Criterion Closet videos?
I've seen pictures of them of like an actor holding up, like I'd pick
Yeah,
that one, right?
you have to watch these. They are fascinating little looks into the tastes and the passions of so many different creative people.
Mhm.
Natasha Lyonne did one this week. Uh, she grabs more movies in less time than anyone else I've ever seen. She's
They told
it's
her it
like
was supermarket sweep. She's just sitting there
no, but
dumping
it's
them in.
what we've just been talking about with the frantic pace of Saturday Night and Snack Shack. Like
That's
that's
her.
what her Criterion
Amazing.
Closet is. I've
So
never seen
good.
a Criterion Closet that felt like Uncut Gems before.
Great. I
Please, please.
I because is that her in Poker Face too? Right?
Yes.
Is she in
Oh,
that?
you need to watch Poker Face.
It's on my list. So they're about to do season 2, right? Is
I
that
believe it may already be out. I need to get back on Peacock for season 2.
something like that? Yeah, that one's on my list of things to watch. My brain constantly goes to like, okay, what if we had a new season of True Detective and she's in it, she's the main detective, like let's have her ham it up in the midst of this like real dark serious like I think that'd be fun. I don't know.
I I love that Poker Face is her resurrecting Columbo.
Amazing. Good.
She's not literally Columbo, but in spirit she is Columbo. She is the second coming.
Yeah, yeah. Which did they? I have a feeling they mentioned Columbo and Russian Doll when she like there is a scene where she has a trench coat on. She goes, "At least I got my Columbo look on, right?" Something like I think. Whatever. Yeah, good stuff with that. I enjoyed her in that especially. So yeah, that is our cinema corner. Let's see. Can I do a quick F1 corner here? I'll make this the
Yes.
fastest lap that I can.
Vroom.
Indeed. So the news of the past couple weeks has mostly centered around Alpine. Their driver Jack Doohan, he's out. Franco Colapinto, he's back in. He had a couple races for I don't remember the other team off the top of my head that he was driving for at the end of last year, but he is now in Alpine. I think he was good lord, was he in the Williams? Maybe I don't remember. Anyways, he's in for at least the next 5 races to kind of
Okay.
see which driver they want to stick with. The team
All I know
principal.
about
Yes.
all I know about Franco Colapinto is that I watched an interview with him and he has a rock eyebrow. He's got like one permanently quizzical eyebrow. It's very funny to watch.
Don't know if I've noticed that, but sure.
Oh,
Okay.
I noticed it immediately and it was all I could think about.
The team principal of Alpine, he has resigned, and Flavio Briatore is kind of taken over his role for the time being ish. He's not team principal per se, but I think is just handling some of his responsibilities
Team
for
vice
right now.
principal.
Yeah. Oliver Oakes resigned, and then they don't really know exactly where he went immediately after that. And then, like 2 or 3 days later, like turned up in Dubai, and apparently his brother had been arrested for like having a large sum of money and was maybe seemingly like transporting it to some criminal something. So I think he had some family issues to work out or something.
Wow.
We don't know exactly what the deal is
Huh.
with that, but
Huh.
yeah, just like, huh, what? What is happening? Um, so yeah, Kimmy Antonelli has been doing pretty good at the start of this season. There is a
Mm-mm.
brand new documentary out about him on Netflix called the Seat,
The
and it
seat.
is, yeah, it's only 40 minutes on Netflix, just about like, hey, Lewis Hamilton left. Who's this kid that's getting his seat here? Um, so if you have any interest on that, I thought it was okay. You know, um, there is a docu series coming out this week to Netflix called Formula One: The Academy.
Mm.
And it is all about F1 Academy, all about this, like these young women, and the series that they've been racing for. So I'm super excited to check that out. Uh,
Nice.
Hopefully that gets some more eyes. The Met Gala happened what, last weekend, right? Lewis Hamilton was there. He was
Looking fine.
looking super fine. Yeah, I saw a good picture of him standing right next to Coleman Domingo. And it's just like, oh man, they all just look fantastic. What the hell, man?
Everybody looked incredible. I loved Andre 3000 lugging around a piano. Jaden
Right?
Smith
Yeah.
wore another weird thing on his face, just like he did at the Grammys when he wore a house.
Right? Yeah. So apparently, Lewis Hamilton bought an entire table's worth of tickets for black women that he wanted to invite to the show there. Like you could buy single tickets or buy an entire table. And he bought
Yes.
it like a whole extra table just to be like, I'm going to
Good.
give these
Good.
seats to other people that should be here in the spotlight. So I thought that was neat.
Charitable.
We did get a new trailer for the F1 movie. I don't think I've really watched it yet. I'm sure I'll see it if I go to the movies this weekend or something like that. But I'm super excited for the upcoming movie. The Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, I hope I said that right. It is one of the Italian Grand Prix.
So is that the name of the city or the name of the racetrack in the city?
To be honest, I don't know exactly where the name comes from. I don't know if it is this. I don't think it's the city that it's in. But I don't know off the top of my head here. If you look that up while I do these
No, I
next
won't.
things, we can add it in. Well, Yuki Tsunoda had a big crash in qualifying. Melissa, I don't know if you want to pull up that video so you can check it out if you haven't seen it in
I
highlights
saw it
already.
that
Yeah,
was
it's
scary. That's so wild. I'm like, that's the pajama boy. That's the boy who wore his pajamas to the airport.
Yeah.
That's what's been such a head trip about watching F1 is that they're like all of these cute, nice boys, and suddenly they could just be like
Just
twisted up like a pretzel or catch on fire.
Yeah. Absolutely. It was a scary one. But yeah, he walked away just fine. Because of the crash, he had to start from the pit lane, which basically means he's last. And still, despite that, managed to get back up there into 10th place by the end of the race, and he scored a single point. So good for him.
Good.
Yeah. Oscar was on pole position for McLaren, but Max Verstappen took the lead almost immediately in a really, really good move. And he ended up winning the race. Lando dropped back down to P3, and it was, I think I said that right. Oscar was the one that was in P3, and Lando was in P2. So McLaren had two of their drivers up there on the podium.
That's how it's been going lately. I'm amazed. Max has had a baby. Congrats to Max. This was like his first win as a dad, which is cute. And the fact that he's continuing, we'll see how his streak continues when he has a baby at
Right?
home.
Yeah. So when he had the baby, Yuki Tsunoda sent him a video congratulating him, and he addresses Max by saying, "Hey, Big Daddy."
Oh,
It's great. It's like, congratulations.
very
Right? Yeah.
Um, Oscar continues to dominate. Lando
Yep.
looks like he's adjusting. Lando looks a little less sad about it. He's holding steady.
He's holding steady, but I think he's, if not sad, certainly upset that he, like, Oscar is
Oh,
kind of taking the
definitely.
spotlight. That is real tough. Yeah, but good for Oscar though. At the same time,
Right.
yeah.
Mhm.
So Monaco is next. That's happening this weekend. So that
Wow.
should be an exciting one to check out. But yeah, that's it. That's our little F1 corner for everyone.
Vroom vroom.
Yeah. So with that, I say we take a quick break to get to some housekeeping, and then Melissa, you have a presentation for me,
I
kind of.
do. Yes.
So we'll get to that. We might get to our pop culture lightning round, and then we are gonna try and come up with some predictions for Mission Impossible 8 here. So we will be right back. Thank you so much for checking out this podcast. We hope you're enjoying it. If you didn't know, we make multiple different shows here at the Whatnauts, and a lot of hard work goes into making them, so we would love it if you check them all out. But none of this is possible without your support. Head over to patreon.com/thewhatnauts, and you can get access to over 40 hours of exclusive content, including our Patreon first podcast, The Pilots Club, when you sign up at our $3 tier. Of course, there is a free version of the Pilots Club available, but episodes are exclusive to our Patreon for 2 years before they hit the free feeds. If you're interested in buying merch, we have shirts, hoodies, mugs, and more for sale over at thewhatnauts.com/store. Another great way to help us out is by subscribing and leaving a nice rating and review on your podcasting app of choice. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel for video versions of the show, trailer reactions, and live streams. And lastly, you can always find out more information about the shows we make on our website, thewhatnauts.com. All right, so we are back. A big shout out to our Patreon supporters. Thank you all so much. It means a ton.
Thank
We appreciate
you.
it. Thank you indeed. Over on the Pilots Club, this month we released our episode on the Mystery Files of Shelby Woo. And coming up for this next month, Murder, She Wrote is what we will do. The Year of the Detective is rolling on, and it was perfect timing for us to do Murder, She Wrote, because I believe like the entire series is finally coming out on Blu-ray, I think. So we were like, yeah, we have to do that one. That's a classic. Over on the free version of the Pilots Club, we released our episode on Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. And in a strange coincidence, today we got the news that George Wendt has passed away. He plays Norm in Cheers, and that happens to be the next episode that we are releasing. So I might release that early than I normally do. I might go ahead and release that tonight, the day that we're recording this, and just be like, hey man, cheers.
Pour one out.
Right, yeah. So wild coincidence that happened, and that was our next one. I was getting the document ready for this, being like, what is the next one we're gonna release for free? And I was like, oh man. Weird how that works out. Anyways, over here on the Captain's Log, our last episode, we recorded on May the 4th. Is that right? Was that the last one we did? Was that our Create a Star Wars one?
Yeah,
Wild.
we did a Star Wars.
Yeah. So if you guys want to hear what Melissa thinks a good Star Wars movie might be, you can go check that out. And then
we each did what our dream Star Wars would be. They're both original stories. with no
Yes.
pre-existing characters, and they're both very us.
Yes, absolutely. I have my own version in there as well. I thought that was a lot of fun.
It
Some
was.
interesting ideas there. Over on the review show, we kind of kicked our summer off with the X-Files movie, which was a lot of fun. Melissa, you said this was a good summer movie, is how you
I think
described it
so.
on the episode. Um, and with Ryan Coogler's new movie Sinners doing fantastic. I know he's also on a reboot project for the X-Files.
God, that's right.
And yeah, so we'll see how that goes down the road. I completely forgot about that when we were recording, so we don't mention that at all on the thing. But I saw something about that on social media this week and was like, oh yeah,
Right. I
Ryan
I
Coogler on the
trust him to
X-Files.
make a hot, sexy X-Files. Now he's proven himself.
The Sex Files. Right,
Maybe he already
yeah.
had proven himself. I've never seen Creed. Maybe Creed's very sexy.
It's Michael B. Jordan
Right,
shirtless most of the time,
beyond
right?
just the basic appearance of Michael B. Jordan, an Adonis among men.
um, then over on the Reactor Core, we have a spoiler cast all about Marvel's Thunderbolts that you guys can go check out. So yeah, that is pretty exciting. I assume we'll have one up for the new Mission Impossible movie as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
So
When are
be
you
on the
going
lookout
and
for
in
that.
what format?
Seeing it in IMAX this Friday
Okay,
is
I am
when I'm
seeing
checking it out.
it. I'm seeing it regular on Friday afternoon, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and buy IMAX tickets for Saturday night while I
Mm,
still can. 'Cause I feel
yeah,
like I'll want to watch this twice.
yeah, yeah. I'm super excited. Uh, yeah, good stuff. Good stuff with that. Last bit of housekeeping. I have been doing some spring cleaning, so to speak, on our YouTube and our Patreon and Spotify. The short version of all of this is our YouTube feed is cleaned up immensely. We are no longer like automatically publishing the audio only versions of our podcast to our YouTube feed that was being
Mm.
automatically pulled in from our podcast host. And if you are using YouTube Music to check out our podcast, you can now very easily switch between the audio only or video feed of the podcast there. So things are cleaned up on our YouTube for all of that. For Patreon, I am cleaning up our feed a bunch on that. They now let you have multiple RSS feeds. So there is not only a master feed of everything that we post, if you just want literally all the podcasts from all of our shows in one master feed, you can support us on patreon.com/the Whatnauts. But if you want a special The Captain's Log feed or a special review show feed, you can get that. And that allows us to easily send you episodes early if you are at our $3 tier, or at our $1 tier. That way you have your own special feed. You can get episodes early that way. So that's fun. That's neat. And last but not least, Spotify. I am slowly but surely. I don't know if I'll do it with all of them, but at least I think the last 2 years is what I'm planning. All of 2025, and then everything we did last year too. I'm putting the video versions of the podcast up on our Spotify as well. But those don't post automatically. So the podcast will be up there automatically when it launches on time. I don't know if I will get to posting the video version of that until a couple hours later ish. But it will be up there if you want to watch the video version on Spotify. So yeah, housekeeping. Let's end it right there and get back to some fun stuff. Melissa, this presentation.
Yes.
Is that what we should do next? How do I do
Yes.
the view slideshow? There it is. I'm going to pull
You have
this
to
up
put
on
it.
screen so
Thank
everyone
you.
can.
It must be seen. It cannot only be described.
There it is. House on the Rock. Melissa,
House
what the
on.
heck?
Have
What
you
is
ever
this?
heard of House on the Rock?
No, maybe? No? I'm not sure. Is this the house that is built on the, is this the Pope? Is the house that's built on the rock the
What?
Catholic Church? Um
What? Like this is a metaphor? Like this is the Da Vinci Code?
right? Yeah. Who knows? You never know. Right? Wasn't that guy from Chicago who wrote that book? Right? I don't know.
I don't know.
Now we've got a Chicago Pope. Mysteries will be solved. All will be
A deep
revealed.
dish Pope.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Indeed. I made a post on social media that was like, okay, season 4 of The Bear. Recognizing their shared Chicago heritage, Carmy caters the Pope's birthday and has a panic attack when he thinks the ecto cooler has been spiked again.
The Pope's gonna bless the ecto cooler. This holy ecto cooler.
Right? Exactly. What is
That's
House on the
gotta be.
Rock?
Uh, I look forward to future discussions about the Pope x the Bear.
Yeah.
So last weekend I went up to Madison, Wisconsin. I had a cousin graduate with his doctorate of veterinary medicine from University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Nice. Congratulations.
First doctor in the family. Thank you. I didn't do anything. I just showed up. We're
Well, now
all
you
very
have
proud of him.
connections, right? If we're in a tight spot and we need a doctor, Melissa, you can be like, oh, I know someone.
I know someone who's a doctor of a type of living creature. He had 2 graduation ceremonies. One was for the whole school of veterinary medicine for people with all kinds of degrees. And the other one was university-wide, but just for peoples with masters and doctorates. So I had to go to 2 ceremonies.
I gotcha.
And at the university-wide ceremony, there's somebody in the MBA group who graduated wearing their cap and gown, but also worn around their neck, kind of off their head, on top of their shoulders. They wore a one-piece hat.
Oh, like the anime One Piece?
Yes, the straw hat. They just got a straw hat on.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Master of Business Administration and of being real stretchy.
Master of Business Weebs.
I wish I knew anything about One Piece except for the ability to identify that hat so I could make some sort of a reference. I don't know it.
I
He ate a
think the
fruit, he
character's
stretches.
name is Monkey D. Luffy.
Right. I don't know why we all know, even if you knew nothing about One Piece, you know his middle initial is D. Why do we all know that?
He only needs one piece of his full name.
One Piece, one letter.
Right.
House on the Rock. I have heard about House on the Rock. I don't know where I first learned of it.
Okay.
Maybe in like a Ripley's Believe It or Not book or museum when I was a child. But I've known about it for years. It's long been a place I've wanted to visit. And lucky me, it is an hour outside of Madison.
Okay.
So my mom and I went up there a day early so that we could spend a day at House on the Rock. House on the Rock, according to legend, a guy, an architect, really admired Frank Lloyd Wright. Frank Lloyd Wright, famed architect from Wisconsin, has a number of buildings around there. He went to Frank Lloyd Wright and is like, Frank Lloyd Wright, I love you. I love your work. Look at this house I designed. Look at my blueprints. And Frank Lloyd Wright is like, I wouldn't hire you to design a chicken coop. This is trash. And then the guy was like, I'll build it in spite of Frank Lloyd Wright.
Frank Lloyd
And he
wrong.
And he built it on top of a tall pile of rock, just like some mountain cliffside in the beautiful forests of Wisconsin. That's the legend. I don't think that actually happened. You know the story of the Winchester Mystery House?
Yeah, kind of.
In that you know there is a story to it that is
Yes.
probably not really based in reality. It's the same thing here.
Okay.
Oh, the important part is the house.
Gotcha. 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 Gotcha.
This is a it started out as like an architectural experiment and just started collecting more and more things. More furniture, more lamps, more memorabilia and collectibles and art and more buildings. And it's just this huge sprawling mass of
Hmm.
honestly bullshit.
Well,
Like, there's let's start. Let us start the presentation.
okay.
Kyle, please proceed to slide 1. Slide
Almost
1.
looks like an illusion room.
Yes, this is the Infinity Room. If you know anything about House on the Rock, you probably know this. This juts out. It looks like it goes on forever. For the listener, here's a photo. That tiny speck is my mom here in the Infinity Room, a room that looks like it goes on forever into the horizon. In
Yeah.
fact, it hangs 80 feet off the rock. When you go out there, you really are just you over the wilderness. And there
Sure.
is a forced perspective trick where they make it smaller and smaller and smaller. And so it looks like it's forever, but it's just
Uh,
85 feet. And the whole place is like that. Things that are sort of tricking you to be something bigger and greater than they are, but they're not really boasting to be anything.
okay.
As you proceed, you see so many things and so very few plaques. There's little information about anything. It's just out there. It's just there for you to look at and draw your own conclusions. And that's where a little bit of the trickery comes in.
Okay.
There's like we glued 3 old guns together to make you think it's some weird old fake gun that really was that big, but no, it's not. But we never really claimed it was because we didn't put a plaque out there. We never said this was a historical artifact. You made that up. We just put it among some other historical artifacts. It's truly
We never
everything.
said it
It's
was
like,
a super gun.
right, what if a visitor from another universe came to like your local flea market? They would find actual antiques and like an old Tamagotchi. And for them, that's all the same type of thing. It's
Yeah.
kind of what it's like going through House on the Rock. Proceed to slide 2.
Okay. 2 pictures this time.
So this is from the original House on the Rock. That was really more like a house. This thing is full of conversation pits.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stonework, a lot of stained glass and Tiffany or Tiffany style lamps. It
Yes.
just
Yeah.
feels shagadelic, feels like a place Mike Brady would design. That big lamp on the table, that's one of the icons of the place. You go to the gift shop at the end, you can buy that
Ah.
lamp printed on like magnets and t-shirts. It is
It's
a
a
really cool lamp.
lamp that almost looks like a mushroom cloud or like a head of
Mhm.
broccoli.
Yeah.
Or
So you go through this.
if you say it almost looks like the Legion of Doom from the old Super Friends cartoon, like that,
Mhm.
like that thing sticking out of the water there. I don't know. Whatever.
So you go through, you can't sit on that red couch, but you can sit on and touch like a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And first, architectural experimented house. Kind of weird, but nothing too wild quite yet. The wildest part is that infinity. Next slide.
Okay.
These are
2
two
more photos.
examples of some of the countless stuff that is around this whole complex. These photos are out of context. These aren't part of the chronology of how you walk through the museum, but these are 2 examples I wanted to show you.
Mm-hmm.
One is a car made a car covered entirely with real ceramic tile.
Yeah. Looks like you're like a
That one,
bathroom floor or like a kitchen
right.
splash back kind of
That
thing.
that one did
Backsplash.
have a plaque to say, "This is a car covered in tile." A guy thought, "What if I covered a car in tile? It's very heavy. It's difficult
Covered
to drive. Here it
entirely.
is, entirely in tile." And next is a photo from the Asian Treasures Wing, and
Sure.
this is
This
an
this looks
example
more
of
like a museum.
right, but again, no plaques. It's just stuff. You, you draw your own conclusions. I don't know. You figure it out. It's a free range museum. This is to show you that this whole place is carpet on carpet on carpet.
Yeah, the like walls are covered in carpet. The like posts and support beams are covered in carpet. The ceiling is not, but it's still right. There's just so much. Everything is
The
in
ceiling's
carpet.
covered in a lot of other things.
Yeah.
Uh, I
Hmm.
was prepared for how to walk through this place, but I'm gonna say, do anything in your power to go to the House on the Rock. It
House
is
on the Rock.
so extremely worth it. This was a life-changing experience. I don't get to the parts of it that were life-changing here in a minute. 2 caveats. I don't know if it was just the time of year. We're in Wisconsin. It's an
Hmm.
early May day. We've had a chilly spring overall. Very chilly in a lot of these rooms. I wish I wore a jacket. You'll see my mom wearing her whole winter coat in all these pictures.
Yeah.
And there's so much dust all over the place just because it is so immense and is all entirely nook and cranny. It's
Right.
not through inattention, it's through sheer impossibility of it being cleaned. I felt so sick afterwards just because I was around
Oh
so much
no.
dust. You know how much there's got to be dust in the carpet. The whole place is carpet.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
if you have dust sensitivities, maybe wear a mask or make sure you do like a neti pot or something afterwards. Like flush your system, get it out of there.
Right.
Next
That's kind of
photo.
wild. Next photo. This almost looks like a dungeon, but there's sinks, almost like a bathroom.
This it is a bathroom. It's literally that. This is the ladies' room. This is just a collection of beautiful colored glass to show you that they don't skimp on anything, even the bathrooms. There's junk all over the place.
Yeah, it's a large room for a bathroom, and one wall is entirely shelves, almost like these like square shelves that I have like behind me and around me in my little podcast studio. But it's all filled with like blue and yellow like jars of different shapes and sizes, different like
Colored
plant
glass.
vases. Yeah,
I
almost
learned
looks
that
like something you'd see in like a home improvement catalog or store or something like that.
sure, a home improvement
It's so dark
catalog where
though.
you
Like
buy all your you buy your Tim the Toolman Taylors, you buy your Al's, you buy your
like
fence.
shit like a pottery barn or
Sure.
that kind of thing,
A
not the
a
home
world
improvement
market for
in
sure.
yeah. But then it's still just so dark in the room, and there's like wood and stone that it like I said, it just makes it feel like a crypt.
There's a lot of places around here that feel like a crypt, and a lot of places that are quite dark. Hollister dark. The University of Wisconsin has an incredible legacy of glass work. I didn't know that before I went through the University Art Museum. Another
Cool.
great thing to see if you're in the area. The Chazen Art Museum, it's free, it's part of the university. There's a
Cool.
ton of stuff in there, an incredible variety, and like a whole glass wing.
Interesting.
Next slide.
All right, we have Dagon Alley or something. Um,
We have a little town. We have now progressed beyond interesting architectural experiment of a house full of knickknacks and tchotchkes. Has one roadside attraction style weird optical illusion room. And now there's just an entire village inside a building.
So this is technically inside the house, right?
This is inside. Yes. This is welcome to the
Wild.
streets of yesterday. There's a whole street that has, it's like a block. There's a whole block. There's probably a dozen different little storefronts and home fronts you go and look
Yeah.
into. There's like big there's rooms that are filled out with all kinds of stuff. There's different businesses. You can see old-timey barber, old-timey
Yeah.
haberdashery.
There's an apothecary, a sheriff's office. I see
Yeah.
like a little bicycle parked up the street. Some weird statue guy up in the top left corner. Little
Oh, yeah.
owl
And again, like I
on
said,
a
it's dark in
tree.
here.
There's
There's
trees in
tall
this room.
there's trees. There's tall ceilings and it's dark. So you will get into a room and then realize after a couple minutes there's like a thing up there hiding.
Right, yeah. Little
And then at the end of this room
gargoyle
there's
looking
like a
down at you.
big mechanical marching band and a massive locomotive or something.
Huh.
Next slide.
Planes! Lots and lots of
Lots.
planes! Big planes, small planes, yellow planes, red planes, blue planes, striped planes.
Kyle, this is a room I didn't even hardly go in. This is to illustrate to
it's
you.
a little plain compared to the rest of them.
This is to illustrate to you. We haven't even gotten to the meat of it. I pulled this out of order. You're really going to be flabbergasted here in a couple slides. Okay. This is an illustration of how dense this place is that I went into the plane room and I'm like, oh, it's a plane room. And I took a picture. Another factor is that we only had a couple hours to go through this place and I knew how dense it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to like very carefully manage my mom because the first thing you go through is the history of the guy who built House on the Rock. And that's the reading part of the museum. And my mom loves to read, but she does not read very fast. And I'm like, Mom, you can't. We are not spending our time here.
Take a picture and save it for later.
Do you know what we have left to see? I'm like, this is the equivalent of filling up on bread before your meal arrives. I'm not going to let you fill up on bread. And I was worried about the plane room because this had some actual historical context and facts about like the actual armed forces. And I know Mom would want to like stop and pay her respects and say a prayer and salute the flag. Like we don't have time. We don't have time.
Love it.
But look at the next slide.
Okay. Whoa.
One part of the plane room is this little. When I say a diorama, I don't mean like a little shoebox diorama. I mean like a full
life-size
room, like
diorama.
A life-size diorama. There we go. Of a cafe from like World War II times.
Yeah, I think the name of it was here. It was no, it's just Cafe Ice Cream Jordan Field, and then I guess this is Jordan Field Cafe, maybe.
I just love this man. So in this life-size diorama of a cafe, you can see like a line cook sticking his head through the window of to the kitchen. It's just a mannequin head on like a lump that's supposed to be his body.
Yep, it looks like maybe it's like a lumbar pillow wrapped in like t-shirt fabric. Right,
with a head on top of it.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Terrifying.
Nothing else in the whole place looked like this. This guy was so funny to me. That only him was like, lump. Put the head on a lump, please.
What does that sign say in the background? The Johnson's sign?
I don't know. You don't have to.
I don't know.
Kyle, you're filling up on bread. You can't read
know what
everything.
this reminds me of? You know what this reminds me of? Did you ever have, when you were a kid, you have those I Spy books? This is exactly that. It's like an I Spy book come to life, but you get to walk through the room that you're supposed to be finding things in.
We are going to get to some real I Spy shit in a couple rooms.
Oh, good Lord. Incredible.
So This is out of chronology. Let me
This is like
return
the
you to the
blueprint.
chronology.
This is like that
Yes.
game I've been
This is
playing. Just weird random rooms.
Yeah, this is junk sale mist is
Yeah.
basically what this place is.
Wild. Okay.
You
Okay.
go through the original house, which like I said, is basically a funkier, more experimental series of dens. You go through the streets of yesterday, which is really impressive and unusual that there's a whole like city street inside a building. But
Yeah.
still, you've probably seen something like that in your local history museum. These are just exaggerated versions of things that maybe you do know. The exaggeration is cool, but you're not so completely out of your element yet. After the streets of yesterday, there's a hallway labeled like Wonders of the Sea. And something that I realized is a major part of the power of House on the Rock is that
Wonder
it
the
will
sea.
lead you between small, like narrow, low ceilinged hallways. And then where like you can't see what's around the corner
Mm.
and you have no idea what is waiting for you. You have no idea what's next.
It's
And then you
Mulholland
turn the
Drive all over again.
And then you turn exactly, that's a good comparison. And then you turn the corner and ba-blam! Kyle, next slide, please.
What?
Right?
It's an entire like a warehouse sized room with this giant sculpture of a whale and a giant octopus or a kraken.
Yes.
Just
Yes.
giant installation art piece thing, giant waves in the sea. A boat is being
There's
tossed aside like
seagulls.
a
Do
rowboat.
you see the
Yeah,
seagulls on wires up there?
there's seagulls up there. It has a bench and lights down below that would be like 9 feet tall, and this thing like towers over all of it.
To emerge from this little hallway, and suddenly you are in a 5-story room with this sculpture, and this is so kinetic. There's such a sense of movement to the scene of a squid fighting a whale. This thing is 200 feet long. This
Yeah,
thing is bigger than the Statue of Liberty. Uh,
Jesus.
yes, y- I. This blew my mind. This is one of the most important things I have ever seen in my whole life. You know, I love big spaces.
Right. Yes.
Our Star Wars discussion was mostly about that, how I love just big, big rooms. This is maybe not the biggest room I've ever been in, but this is the biggest thing I have ever
In a
been in
room.
an enclosed space with.
Right. This
This,
room looks like the same style that remember when Rachel and I went to the Bone Museum and I told you about that
yes,
and just got to the whole museum was the size of this single room.
yes, this is one part of it. You're looking at like only, I don't know, 15% of all of House on the Rock here in this room. This thing,
Wild.
you can go to the next slide. I took a ton of photos of this.
Oh, okay, yeah.
This There's a
Some
whole squid
person's
eye.
face over there, yeah, giant
That's
squid
like
eye.
the masthead on a boat. That's like the
Right.
naked woman you put on the front of a boat for good luck. She's huge. She's probably like 8 feet tall, but she looks like this little
Giant
thing.
woman.
This
Yeah.
in this do is see a giant woman, and I did. Next slide. Here's just more angles of squid and whale.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
it's not like the first picture just looked like it was the tentacles of the thing poking out, but no,
no,
you
this
get to see this whole
360.
squid.
You go all the angles. Go to the next one. Here's I didn't include a picture where you look
The
inside the whale's
upstairs.
mouth, but the whale ate a boat. There's boat in mouth. And then there's
Ah,
the whole like big barnacled tail like that's like touching
right.
the ceiling. Uh this the scale of this thing
That is
just
ginormous.
it floored me. I You know what it made me think of? it made me think about Jean Jacket.
Jean
The
jacket.
al the alien from the end of Nope, when the alien becomes that
Oh,
giant
yeah.
thing, like, this is like, it's like I'm being confronted with something of that scale and something that is also, like, almost natural, but not natural.
Right.
It
What's
this was cosmic horror, pretty much.
it really is. It's like, especially with those like multiple rows of teeth in this like whale monster's mouth. It's huge. At the bone museum that I mentioned, in the center of the room, hung up, like floating in the center of this space, they had a whale skeleton that like filled out the whole room. I don't think it's as big as this thing. It
No,
just looks
this is
like
like a
2 or 3
mega-fictional
times the
whale.
size. Yeah.
I I photos and words don't do enough. You have to be in the room with this thing.
Wild.
And, oh my god, oh, did I miss it? Oh, I the best picture, I didn't put it in the slideshow. So I am flabbergasted by this squid and whale fighting each other, locked in a battle to the death. I'm circling it. I keep finding new angles. I'm amazed at how
Send me
big it
the
is and how
picture and
detailed it
I'll
is.
put it in the podcast in post.
Oh my god, okay.
Put it in right
So,
here.
but surrounding this is their Wonders of the Sea area. And this is a museum. The House in the Rock just built an existing they just bought an existing museum that closed. Some like nautical museum closed and they're like, "We'll just buy all of that, thank you, and just stuff it in our museum."
Sure.
So, that is what is surrounding this place is just actual nautical treasures like
Yeah.
model ships, old hats, rope, stuff that was on ships. So
Clothes.
while I am losing my mind at this massive sculpture, I turn around and my mom is taking a picture of a little wooden chair. She says, "I love this chair."
But it's so small. That's funny.
Uh, and then you can also see in the photo with the whale's mouth down there, there's like another seafaring area down there. They
Mhm.
also had a massive, like Chuck E. Cheese style animatronic octopus that would play Octopus's Garden. This whole place is full of funny little mechanical machines, and you take your cash and you get House on the Rock tokens like it's Chuck E. Cheese. And you can go throughout the complex and plug your tokens into stuff like that. Little animatronics
That's
that
so
play a
funny.
song or do a dance. They had so many love tester machines. I made my mom take a picture of me on every love tester machine. So I'm like, I need these for my dating profiles. Mom, if you ever want to see me get married, take a picture of me like touching the handle and the thing lights up and it says if you're hot stuff or not.
That's great.
You know what one of these machines rated me? This was so cold. This thing read me like a goddamn book.
What was it?
Academic.
Yeah, yeah,
Academic.
yeah.
Like you're not wrong, but God, what a rating. Couldn't get hot stuff, couldn't get hot to trot, couldn't get any of it. So after you go through squid and whale,
Okay.
next slide, then you enter into another giant room. This is the one that feels like an I Spy brought to life.
Yeah.
It's filled with there's this is another giant warehouse that has little buildings inside of it. By little buildings, I don't mean like where Barbie lives. I mean like just sheds, just houses,
Yeah.
cottages are
They look like
inside here.
some kind of like garden gazebo that you'd see on some rich southern mansion.
It's full of giant kites and hot air balloons and the DreamWorks logos, Mom.
Right.
And there's bikes in the air, like the Amplin logo. There's
banisters and butterfly kites and yeah, all kinds
this
of
was, like,
stuff.
as much as
Trees.
the whole place was a junk drawer, this room was especially a junk drawer, where it's, like, neon signs, old, like, 1950s roadside billboards. This is where the tile car was. Just an absolute hodgepodge.
Yeah.
And after you've left the squid and the whale, you're like, there's still rooms this big with this much weird stuff in there. There's no information about the squid and the whale. So I bought the House on the Rock book, the like coffee table book they sell in the gift shop. And there's only a one single 2-page spread on the squid and the whale. And it doesn't even tell you that much about it. Like, how did you make this thing? Who fabricated it? How long did it take? I want a full 2-hour documentary on this statue. And they're just like, wow, pretty crazy, huh? Like,
It's a
yes.
squid and it's a
What
whale.
else? Tell me how. Next slide.
Oh yeah,
Now, what do
this
you what, what do you
it's
think
like
you're looking at?
it almost so two more pictures. The one on the left is more of a like gold lighting. It almost looks like an old theater.
Mhm.
Is what it looks like that kind of extravagance when you go see like the thick like a theater with like the thick red curtains
Thick.
and stuff like that. But it's yeah, it's like chandeliers. It looks like multiple levels, but I don't think it's like levels you can get to. There's a like a tree. It all looks like a tree with like a door in it. Um, Something you'd see in like a fantasy movie. Like it almost looks like the like New Orleans style like French
Mm. Mm.
architecture, that kind of stuff. And then the
This
picture
is
on the
why
right is
it's
more
red.
like red and pink. It's like just these lavish chandeliers, but it looks like there's like a stagecoach on one side. I don't know why that's there. It almost looks like a club or something you'd see in Vegas, like a jazz cabaret club, kind of
Mm.
like that, but just like an extravagant one. Like if you've
The
seen those like those strippers and all of the like diamonds and all that stuff,
Oh
like
yeah,
but
this
that
is the
threw
last
up on the
showgirl.
wall. Yes, yeah. If that threw up all over the walls.
Yeah, Vegas showgirl acid dream is what a lot of this place is. Photos don't do this place justice because photos kind of flatten it out and everything here is layers and layers and layers deep.
Yeah.
Uh
There's
it's
so much detail.
Yes, these are 2 different there were several of these massive mechanical music self-playing instruments. I don't know if you can tell in that red photo, those are like violins and things that like
Kind of looked
mechanical
like it.
armatures that play
Yeah.
the violins, and then you would put in your Chuck E. Cheese token and it would play a song. And
I'm
these I
just now
believe
noticing the like animals, the like tiger and maybe like
yeah,
bison looking thing behind it.
yeah.
I guess that's not a bison, but yeah, there's like weird stuff. I see like angels in one corner of it. It just
Ugh,
this truly is the like I Spy page of just like
yes.
I spy one tiger and three upright bases and a stagecoach and 20 red chandeliers.
This building's mostly chandeliers. These are these mechanical bands. And I think this is also one of those fabrications where it's made to look like there's a mechanical armature playing a violin, but really it just moves and then separately we play a
The
music note.
track. Yeah.
Yes. But immense. These things will be like 3 layers tall, like 16 feet deep. Everything is covered in like velvet and jewels and lights, and everything moves.
Yeah.
And we went through this on a Friday morning, and it's not crowded, but there are enough other people also going through it with us that would be at different stages. We would hear this music from down the hallway, and we can't see down there because it's so twisty and turny and windy. And then we'll come across the corner and we're like, oh, that's what did that. An entire mechanical band made that sound.
That's wild.
Next, so the jewels of this place are the Infinity Room, the Squid and the Whale, and what is here on the next slide, the world's largest carousel.
Yeah, I was gonna say like a big giant merry-go-round kind of thing. Huge.
Huge. This is 3 stories tall and like 6 layers deep.
Good
It
lord.
has, oh, how many animals on it? Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of, well, not just animals, creatures of all kinds, but no horses. No normal horses. You can't tell from this photo, the horses are all on the walls. They took all the horses off. The horses are on the walls. There's angels on the ceiling. You see them? There's just angels hanging over you.
Yeah, it looked like angels and birds, but some of them look
Yep.
humanoid. But then there's one that looks like is on like a trapeze thing in
Sure.
almost the middle. There it
Oh, yeah,
looks
there's
like
all
she's
kinds of
not
trapeze
wearing
women.
much except for like a sash on, but a bunch of disco ball looking things all over the place. It looks like the Griswolds set up the Christmas lights on
Yeah.
this one. Yeah, just
This
a fascinating amount of detail.
incomprehensible. This, I told you this place was kind of chilly, maybe because most of it is underground, which is part of how
Sure.
these massive spaces can sneak up on you. This is the only room that was warm because it is
All the lights.
such a massive, heavy, hard-working machine and hundreds of lights. And this thing spins around, not excessively fast, but like if
Yeah,
there's just so much to take in that even at a normal speed, it feels astronomical.
that's crazy.
Next, in the next slide, here's 2 images from looking
I like that dog.
into. Yeah, there's like a big chunky bulldog. So I said all of the merry-go-round animals none of them are traditional ponies. They put the ponies all up on the
Yeah.
wall. There'll be like seahorses and zebras and unicorns and pegasi, things
Yeah.
that are horse adjacent, but no normal horses. People love Chonky Bulldog. He's also on a lot of the merchandise in the gift shop.
Love
And in the
him.
next one, there's like some walrus, there's a big elephant, and then there's this weird woman who's not
Walrus?
a centaur.
Is that the
Walruses.
plural of walrus? Walrus?
That's not what's important right now. Just move on. Move on. Look at this woman.
Naked woman.
This is
All
like
right, let's
this is
move
like
on to the important stuff.
this is like a centaur. You know, a centaur is like human
Yeah.
to like the waist and then horse. This is like woman, including the pubic area down to mid thigh, and then she becomes horse.
Makes no anatomical sense
No,
whatsoever.
this is a ratio of centaur I've never seen before.
It's almost like
It feel-
she's stepping out of the horse costume, but it's not a
Right.
horse costume.
She's
Like
midway.
this is not how it works. Yeah.
This is probably like statue of naked woman and statue of horse glued together.
Yeah.
Just like no person sculpted this, and if they did, they were a pervert because it's just what if you wanted centaur, but like really easily accessible vagina, like right there. That's what it is.
Well, if the horse is this tall, right? You know, it might be eye level, right?
I don't. This is just one of 300 things that spin past you, and you're like, hold on, wait a minute.
Yeah, it looks like there's a handful of other of these of like similar creations behind it. There's a smaller one right next to it, like a little small horse.
I love the scale scale. I love that there's there's like big centaur and then little centaur, like
Yeah.
baby's first centaur.
But then it looks like there's another two like half animal creations behind it, half topless woman on it. But I don't think it's a horse. It's hard to tell what it is, but like these things right back here, like this almost looks curly, so it looks like maybe a snake or something, or like a
A
mermaid.
seahorse.
Yeah, like they look more like if you were to do like a seahorse centaur. What's that called? I guess just mermaid, right? But like more seahorse than your traditional mermaid. Would that be a murtar?
I like murtar.
A
Murtar.
murtar?
Where it's human and then horse, but then horse also has seahorse tail. It's 3 stages. The Neapolitan of creatures.
Oh man.
Kyle, next photo.
Okay,
So this is
even
another
more
giant carousel.
craziness.
There's more than one.
Good lord.
This one is taller. This one is 5 stories, but this only like 3 layers deep, not 6 layers deep, and it's stuffed with mostly dolls. It's
Yeah.
a smaller scale one. You can see a tiger, a skeleton, so many dolls.
Yeah.
And then, of course, what's on the top floor? More naked women.
Yup. More mannequins, more creepy dolls.
Yeah. And then you
Interesting.
see in this one photo, the photo on the left side of the left photo, there's just a big cathedral, which was one of the most beautiful. This thing is like 12 feet tall. It's like a wooden cathedral. It looks like a Disney castle.
Yep.
This was the thing I most wish had any sort of plaque or information about it. Because as I remind you,
Lots of spikes.
none of this is explained. There is no information on any of these. There's nothing to read. You just look.
Melissa, if for episode 300, when I come to visit you and I'm walking around your apartment, if I don't see little plaques around your apartment explaining the history of your refrigerator or where you got that desk or stuff like that, I'm quitting, right? Like just be like, no context, Melissa.
My place may be more like House on the Rock than many other apartments are. I do try and emulate this place in the warm, everything is red lights and just nonsense all over the place. I don't have a plaque, but maybe I should put one up. You'll be really surprised by some of the stuff here.
One up next to your party girl sign.
History of the party sign.
Yeah.
So this room, next slide, please.
Okay.
So after the room with the world's largest carousel, again, you turn a corner and you see how labyrinthine this space is?
Yes, yeah. This looks like an MC Escher kind of space with hallways and like pathways kind of twisting around each other. And then, of course, at the top, there's this like giant red chandelier, which it looks like those lights were extras from what was on one of the.
The whole place is a lot of stuff that they find and repurpose, and a lot of stuff they made. So I guess they just made 1,000 of these lanterns, and in this room they glued a bunch together and made a giant chandelier. They call this the organ room. It's the darkest and most mysterious of all the rooms. It's all twisty-turny. It's giant mechanical pieces. Some of them are organs. There's multiple, like, huge organs, like a church tall where it has, like, 2,000 keys. And you'd have to be like that guy with the long arms from Spirited Away to play that thing. But then there's, like, massive brewing kettles And whatever this is in that picture on the right, which is like a water mill or a big clock, this thing
It's
is
like an
like
open faced clock. Yeah.
it's like 4 stories tall, and I don't know what it is. Same thing with that cathedral. This stuff is just not explained. I don't I don't know what to name any of this. I'm just like, "That, wow. What is it?"
Yeah, some kind of like mechanical clock where you can see all the inner workings. Did the clock actually work? Did it move,
I
or
don't
was this
think so.
just still? Because it,
I
it looks like it's almost like a big giant mechanical like cuckoo clock where things are moving around slowly. Like there's two animals, looks like maybe like a lion or a wolf or something. That look like they spin, but then there's like a ladder on one side of it that looks like something goes up and down that thing if it moves. I don't know. Yeah, weird.
and
Interesting.
then stay where you I remembered that I created the slideshow and I still have it open and I can edit it to add more things anytime I want. So I'm gonna add a thing to there's one more final slide 'cause I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta show you this thing too.
Okay. I wonder if it'll update on my end since I'm in the view mode.
We'll see, we'll see.
It should.
So after this, you go through it's like they've blown your mind enough with these massive dreamlike creative spaces. And then it gets into parts that are just collections.
Hmm.
Not enough information for me to call it a museum, but collections. Halls and halls of dollhouse miniatures, really elaborate dollhouse miniatures, a hall of miniature circuses, just like big tables of
Weird.
miniature circuses. Circuses upon circuses, and there's circus wheels on the walls. And
Huh.
then there's a bunch of night dioramas, life-size dioramas. The things that would be stars of the show in any other space. In House in the Rock, you're like, yeah, it's a bunch of knights. It's a whole wall of crown jewels, whatever. You can't take all of it in. Your brain just breaks. You're like, it's oversaturated. It's just water. Can you go to the next slide, please?
Okay, I am looking at
This
a picture of, I guess, your mom looking up at the stuff that is behind her. Wagon wheels, an elephant, two elephants. Is that the right one?
countless elephant appear. Kyle, this is an entire. So we're on the second or third floor of another big room. This is the circus wing. We went through all the little circuses, and then there's a life-size elephant pyramid, like 3 levels of elephants with
Wow.
life-size like human mannequins on top of them. These don't move. These are stationary. Then in the middle,
I
like
hope they don't
behind my
move.
mom, then behind my mom is like a big caravan that's just like covered in things. Just more mannequins, life-size everything. Everything in this place is
Yeah.
either life-size or incredibly small.
It reminds me of like Howl's Moving Castle, like this just
It's
giant contraption that is,
yeah, yes.
yeah.
Might as well have chicken legs. The circus area is very night at the museum. Really expected there to be a tiny Owen Wilson running around those miniature circuses. So in this room, there's that big caravan, and then it can you see the final picture? Did that show up for you? Did it load?
It did not, but I can reload it here in a sec. Let me
Okay.
see here. Go here and hit escape, and then let me reload that, and then come on, Schwartz. View slideshow. Put that to the next one and bring it back up on screen. Here we go.
Can you see the orchestra?
The orchestra. Yeah. The creepy
Thi
mannequin orchestra.
This is a full orchestra. This is, I don't know, dozens and dozens and dozens of mannequins with instruments. These are all supposed to move. These and I think the big circus caravan, the multi-leveled, like, circus truck that was behind my mom,
Mhm.
I think it all moves. It's supposed to move. It
Wild.
was down for refurbishment when we went, but typically, you plug in a coin, and then these guys move, and they play you a song.
Amazing.
So there's levels and levels deep of these guys. Some of them are like mannequin heads like you'd see at a Macy's or something. Some of them are real nasty looking, like they look kind of half melted or glued
Ooh,
together.
yeah.
There's some uggos back there. I are you beginning to understand what I went through here?
Yeah, it's not so much an impossible space, but it is just a baffling space filled
Yes.
with bizarre things.
Yes. And
There's like
uh,
a magic to it, and like ephemeral kind of like
yes.
I'm in a different space in some kind of like ethereal space.
Right, I'm in another plane. This isn't I've left Earth.
Yeah,
This is like the remnants of Earth. Centuries from now, millennia from now, there is no Earth, and aliens have found a couple Earth remnants, and they try and glue them together. Like, was this it? Is this what life was?
right.
This?
Wild.
Uh, I had done some research into it. I knew the highlights. I knew what to hit. But still, you would forget things. You would be so overloaded that you would forget, right, the mannequin orchestra. And you're shocked when you see it again. You're shocked when you're in a little space and suddenly you're in a big space, or when
Yeah,
something moves and you didn't know it was going to move,
yeah.
or when there's just like a giant ship masthead, a naked woman from the front of a ship just hanging out in the darkness above you. You couldn't see.
Yeah. Oh, incredible.
So by taking you on this tour, I've maybe taken away some of the surprise that I felt going through this place, but I needed to impress on you.
Yeah,
You
no, this is
you
crazy.
have you know what it cost us to go through here? $35 a piece.
There you go.
A bargain
Not
at
bad.
twice the price. And it's a
Not bad at all.
beautiful drive out there. Like I said, it's like an hour outside of Madison. The countryside is incredible.
Yeah,
You drive past a historic Frank Lloyd Wright house on the way up there. Amazing.
interesting.
House on the Rock.
House on the Rock. Not what I was expecting at all. Interesting. Um, Real quick, I'll just run down this pop culture lightning round. It truly will be a lightning round, indeed. Sesame Street is coming to Netflix. Their
Old as or new.
deal with HBO, I believe, or yeah, with is coming to an end. It is in full force on Netflix. They will have the entire back
All
catalog. New
oh
episodes
boy.
will be coming to Netflix, and new episodes will be airing on PBS day and date that they air on Netflix as well.
Hooray for PBS.
Nolan's Odyssey will be the first movie shot completely in IMAX. Interesting. I've always heard that there were only like a handful of IMAX cameras in the world, but that was years ago, so I don't know how much that number has increased. But typically when a movie is like it says shot for IMAX, it typically only means there's a handful of scenes in there that were
Yes.
shot on IMAX. But
Because
apparently, because of Oppenheimer, they came up with some new cameras or some new technology to capture all of that is allowing him to
mhm.
capture the entirety of this movie on IMAX film from end to end.
So IMAX cameras in historically they have been huge. They're
Yes.
just large cameras. They can't shoot for very long. So you can only get like 20 minutes at a time, and they're extremely loud. So for a long time IMAX was only for like nature documentaries
That had
where
a
then you would
voiceover. Yeah.
just right, a voiceover, a score. It was you could you didn't have to play real sound from there on the day because it's just just
Interesting.
drone. But yes, they are now lighter and quieter, and they last longer, and we're getting more IMAX time. It's
Yeah.
an exciting time to be alive.
Yeah, if I mean Nolan's cinematography, whoever he gets to do his stuff, always makes his movies look really great. So I'm excited just to see this on that premise alone, that the entire thing will be shot in IMAX. Uh, should be good. Welcome back, HBO Max. We missed you there, buddy. Good old buddy, old pal. Warner Discovery, or whatever their name is, has rebranded Max back to HBO Max. This is, in my mind's, maybe on par with Gap trying to rebrand their thing and being like, oh, never mind.
I don't
um,
remember a Gap rebrand.
Oh, they you should look it up. It's pretty fascinating. You know, the like the square Gap logo that's
Oh,
just that,
yeah.
like, yeah. So they tried to rebrand it at one time and add some more color and new shapes and stuff like that. And the vitriol online for being like, this is a terrible, like, was so bad that like, I want to say, within a week or something, they were like, nope, back to the old one. Sorry.
No more International House of Burgers. What I had heard about the switch from HBO Max. Oh, wow. Oh, that Gap logo looks like
Yep.
the that looks like Microsoft PowerPoint's example of what a PowerPoint could be. It's like default bland corporate PowerPoint.
It really was. Yeah. And everyone was like, this is so bad.
No,
And so they just went
there
back
is a
to
press
Gap.
there there is a prestige to the original Gap logo. I
Yeah.
realize that now.
Absolutely.
W what I had heard about HBO Max dropping HBO from their name was that HBO does carry a certain clout, a certain prestige when you think about it, but HBO is considered something very adult. And what the streaming platform wanted to do was to be in direct
Mm-hmm.
competition with Disney Plus and be more family friendly. They're like, if we're HBO Max, people are going to think it's just The Sopranos and Game of Thrones and violence and titties. They're not going to think we have the whole Sesame Street catalog. We have the Miyazaki films. And they
Mm-hmm.
do have a large library of family-friendly content.
Yeah.
I think that's what the switch to Max was largely about, trying to appear more family friendly, or at least indicate there is more going on here than what you think about when you think about HBO. And maybe they've just pivoted away from that.
I can see two scenarios of like, okay, now that we've gotten a lot of people in, now they realize that we have that. Now we can switch it back. That could be one scenario. The other is they've kind of been in hot water for some time of like, hey, you guys don't have very many new shows, you're not doing well, no one likes all the, like, let's shelve this movie, let's shelve this show, let's take all these shows off of the streaming service. So they could be trying to use that HBO name to garner some goodwill here and be like, no, there's actually some quality stuff on here, we promise, please be excited. So I don't know, but HBO Max, it's back to HBO Max, at least starting this summer sometime.
Okay.
Um,
Will it go
moving
back to
along
being
though,
purple? It was originally purple, and then when it switched to being Max, it became royal blue, and I really missed the purple.
yeah, I like the purple too. I think it's just going to be black and silver now. That's fine, I guess. You know. Moving along though, Kristen Ritter is confirmed as returning as Jessica Jones for Daredevil Born Again season 2. I'm excited about that. That should be good. I can't wait to see her again in that. And then we got a bunch of trailers and teasers for things. We got one for Superman, for Ironheart, for Spider-Man Noir, and The Bear season 4, among other stuff that's out there. Do you have any kind of thoughts on these real quick?
There's also a trailer out for The Long Walk, that horror
Yes.
movie
Yeah.
based on the Stephen King book where the boys just have to walk as long as they can, and the last one left alive gets anything he wants. Looks gnarly. I'm excited.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, I liked these trailers quite a bit. I think the Superman one was a really, really good tone
Mhm.
piece.
Yes.
I liked it a lot. I'm super fascinated by the Spider-Man Noir teaser that we got. To see oh god, Nicolas Cage in live action Spider-Man Noir is kind of wild.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm how much of a teaser was this? I missed this somehow. Was
it
it just like a
is.
little bitty thing?
Yeah, like 20 seconds of
Mm.
stuff. Um, definitely more to show you like what it will look like. And I could be wrong on this. I thought I read somewhere that they are releasing it at first in black and white and then later on in color.
Oh, like
But
Werewolf by Night.
yeah, but the black and white looks just incredible. It looks so good. um,
What is this on? I tried
it's
looking it
not
up on
on
YouTube.
really any good channels. I don't know if like the official studio uploaded it, but you can they're it's right there. You can just look up the Spider-Man Noir teaser. There's one that's like 20 seconds or something. But yeah. That's about it for our pop culture lightning round though. I think Melissa is watching the trailer.
Now there's people arguing in the comments about whether it's real or not. So I believe there is a real one. I don't know if I clicked on the right one. I'll investigate later.
Yeah. Cool. Good stuff with that. Let's go to Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible 8. Any predictions? I'm seeing it on Friday. You said you're going Thursday for your
No,
first
I'm
time,
going
right?
Friday afternoon. I'm
Friday afternoon.
taking a
Okay.
half day. I'm doing a 2 p.m. showing. And then I
Nice.
might see if I can get in again Saturday night.
Cool. Good stuff. Predictions. Start us off. Do you have a prediction that you are trying to make?
You know that I am still big team. Ilsa is still alive. They've been tricking us all along. I
hmm,
rewatched the last 3 movies, all the ones that Ilsa is in. I have even more proof than before.
oh, okay. Remind me which character she is again. Is that Rebecca Ferguson's character, right?
Kyle, yes.
It's been some time since I've watched them.
Is this also part of the trick? Is this is this a trick on the entity?
Turns out Ilsa is the AI all along. Uh,
Yes, I believe I'm still not sure how, and
mhm,
maybe they're gonna pull some trick out of their sleeve with some piece of IMF tech that I've never seen before, or that
sure.
hasn't been in play in a long time. I can't tell you how they did it, but thematically, there is a lot to support her still being alive, and the way she died was weird. Have you rewatched Dead Reckoning yet
No,
in
no,
preparation for the final reckoning?
I
Okay.
have not.
So I've watched it. I watched it a couple days ago, and then I keep rewatching the scene right before and then when she dies and trying to study it. Like Ethan tells when your Gabriel offers Ethan the choice. Spoiler. We should have said a spoiler alert for Dead Reckoning a couple minutes ago. Anyway, let's proceed.
Yeah.
Gabriel offers Ethan the choice. One of these two women has to die. It has to be Grace or it has to be Ilsa. And then Ilsa ends up dying in a sword fight with Gabriel.
I remember that on that little bridge
Yes.
thing. Yeah.
Yes. uh, would they have that discussion at, like, some fancy palace or club or both, it's Europe, where the White Widow is having some sort of a party like she always is. And Gabriel offers Ethan this choice, forces him into this choice, and what Ethan says to Ilsa is, "Run. Run as far away as you can." And then she does, she runs, and then we see everybody escape. Ethan fights Palm Clementieff in that tiny alley.
Mm-hmm.
Grace fights Gabriel, and then Ilsa just walks out again out of nowhere, and we don't know where she's been for the last couple minutes of the movie and maybe up to like 20 minutes in universe. She just disappears, and then she comes back and she dies silently in this sword fight. And the whole thing is so brushed over and so glossed over in a way that is very suspicious to me. And I remember being quite
Yeah.
confused that people took this death at face value. Like, I really like that character from the last couple of movies. Weird that she's just dead and then they don't talk about it. Like, there's a larger scheme here. I swear something is happening. And
That's an
I keep
interesting thing to think about.
see, and
Especially
that's
with
what
the
everybody
like weirdness of this was a part two, but now it's not, and it feels like they've changed a bunch of stuff. So it could be a thing that maybe they were gonna do something with her and then decided not to somewhere along the way, or the opposite of that, where they weren't really gonna do much with her, but then it's like, what if we make
they
her death maybe a little more mysterious, and maybe we'll keep that card up our sleeves.
I don't know any metatextual production reasons behind anything. I know that Rebecca Ferguson has a number of other projects and is quite busy. I don't think
Hmm.
she's busy enough that she would exit this franchise completely, but I can imagine maybe she was not available to be in as much of the movie as they would have wanted. So there may be some logistical reason behind.
Yeah, she's off filming Silo or the next
There's
Dune or something
there's
like that.
Silo and Dune, but I don't know how those things outrank Mission Impossible in the popular culture. Um, sh I think there's a long con, not just that the movie is doing to us, but that
Hmm.
Ethan and his team are doing to the entity. They are faking Ilsa's death to the villains of this movies that they don't suspect that she's still out there.
Yeah,
There's
something
a
like that would make sense.
lot. I feel insane because that's what everybody says. "Oh, interesting. Oh, maybe." And I have paragraphs of I have
The
receipts.
the
I've
red
st
string conspiracy.
I feel so positively about this, and everyone else is just so tepid. I don't know what I feel like I'm the one
I
careening
think
off the edge of a cliff, and I hope my parachute opens.
like the Mission Impossible franchise is not weird. That's not the right word, but they're like, when I asked you earlier, like, remind me which one is Ilsa again, right? Like, these characters, I don't have them or hold them in my mind the same way that
Really?
I do. Like, oh, that's Moon Knight, or though they reference Stephen Strange, or like, right, like,
Okay.
yeah, like I don't. It's like, oh, Ilsa, okay, someone named Ilsa. Who's that? I know he was married at one point. I don't remember his wife's name at all.
Julia,
Yeah, I know Ving Rhames plays a character. I don't remember that character's
Luther.
name at all. Right? Yeah, but like, I like these movies a lot. I recognize the characters on screen, but they just, I don't know. They don't have the same kind of sticking power, like
Okay.
distinctive sticking power. Like they're good characters. Don't get me wrong, but like
I
there's something about them kind of blending. Not they're not like, I'm not mistaking them for one another. Like, is that
mm,
Vanessa Kirby's character, or is that I don't know, but
mm.
they're just not like the distinctness that you get from like a different superhero costume or something like that. It's
Okay.
just like,
They
oh,
they
you're a
are
regular person.
Right, they are all people in people clothes.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
guess that's one point. And, like, the way you talk about this is like the way I talk about Star Wars or something. Like, it just look like the vibe and the colors and the looks, and there's the
But like
guys in it. I
I'm
know, we all
into
have the
all of
thing like
the
this.
spy stuff that's been happening over because my mom was asking me a bit about it when I was like, oh, the new Mission Impossible is coming out, and she goes, oh, well, could we watch this one without having seen the past couple? I was like, I
Mm,
mean, you probably could to an extent, but this is
it
still all one big continuous story.
Yes,
Like,
there is continuity. This movie being at least I imagine the final one starring Ethan Hunt in the lead role. There may be more to come where he is in a minor supporting role capacity and Haley Atwell is the star. I could easily see that. There
yeah,
is going to be a sense of continuity, a sense of legacy, calling back to things from earlier movies.
absolutely.
If you know of somebody who wants to hop on now, I'd tell them watch 1, 5, 6, 7. Oh, and
1567.
you should
Yeah.
probably watch 3 if you're gonna watch
Just
6.
watch them all. Right?
Right. You can skip 2. 2 is very skippable.
Yeah.
Um, 4 4 is absolutely delightful,
What
but
if this movie makes 2 unskippable?
it might. I don't know. I was listening
Right?
to some podcasts talk about how, like, Henry Czerny, they brought back this guy, and this is the one character's name that I am blanking on. Kittredge? Kittredge.
Sure.
Kittredge,
Yeah.
like the American Girl doll. Like, that's a guy from the first movie who had then not been referenced again until he shows up again in 7. And they're
Right.
like, there
Yeah.
are still characters from the earlier movies who are still alive could show up here in the final movie. Maybe that's where Ilsa's hiding. I'd love if she was hiding with the co-star of the second movie.
Yeah.
Um, she is somewhere. I feel so positively. Again, can't tell you how, but when you're going to rewatch Dead Reckoning before the final reckoning, right?
Yeah.
Watch her. Watch that scene where they're in the club and Gabriel offers Ethan the choice. She doesn't look scared. She doesn't look angry. She has this look of concentration on her face. She's focusing on something. And she even gives this like little fraction of a smile when he says she needs to die. Something is, and then she vanishes and then she comes
Yeah.
back out of nowhere to fight him and
Like,
die.
they took the bait. The plan worked. Like the fraction of a
Yes.
smile. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you think
And
Ethan is? I mean, you already mentioned that, potentially he could be in like a senior staff level behind a desk. He's the one doing all, But do you think he survives?
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
interesting.
I think we are going to get something very much like the ending of The Dark Knight Rises, where Alfred looks out
Ah, yeah,
and
that
Bruce
makes
Wayne has
sense.
faked his death and he's run away with Catwoman. We're going to have Luther wearing a Panama hat, sitting at a cafe, looking out over the
Yeah,
water, and
just the
there's Ethan and Ilsa, and they've like faked their deaths and run away together.
yeah.
That's how it ends.
Yeah, something like that. I could certainly see something like that for sure. This, like, let everyone think that Ethan is dead and moved on and stuff like that. But he's really secretly still out there.
Or maybe these movies are they are positive movies. They are called Mission Impossible. You cannot forget this. They are about proving the impossible possible. And it has this death grip on I'm not letting anybody else die ever again. I can figure it out. I'll do it. I'll pull everything together at the last minute. That is Ethan Hunt's character. That is the ethos of this film. He may defeat all his enemies and not need to fake his death. He
Yeah,
might just plain out retire like a normal man and go
right.
home to Iowa.
The real impossible mission is bringing the guy back from Mission Impossible 1 who died in the elevator, right?
Just squished Emilio Estevez. That would
Yeah.
be a big shocker if Emilio
Yeah.
Estevez is back. But do you remember what happens in the first movie? You think John Voight is dead, and then at the end, John Voight's alive again. John Voight faked his death.
Yeah.
They did this with Julia, his wife. You think she's dead? No, they
Yep.
faked her death to protect her. This happens over and over again in smaller ways. And I think what this final movie is going to do is pull out the granddaddy of all of these, where we convinced you somebody was dead for more, like across
Multiple
2
movies.
films.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good bet. I think that'd be a smart choice. Um, I don't know. I don't know if I have like as concrete of a prediction as you do. There's something about this movie to me that reads, which is a weird thing to say for Mission Impossible, but the stakes seem higher. Like
Oh, yes.
in Mission Impossible, even though it is globe trotting,
Mm-hmm.
there's something about it to me that just doesn't read as like a global nature to like a lot of the threats, even if some of them are nuclear, right? Like there's because he's an American agent, but they like for some reason this almost feels like multiple governments are coming together to
Yes.
not necessarily sanction him, but be like, hey man, we need your help. Like humanity is about to
Right.
get fucked up here. We need Ethan Hunt.
What these last 2 movies pose is not just a crisis that is international, it is a crisis that is existential.
Yes. Yeah. Which is why, like, even in the back of my mind, like maybe the impossible mission is the friends we made along the way. No,
Kyle, you're joking, but I think that's extremely true.
But I think another impossible mission the writers have is, can we kill this character off and have it be meaningful, have it be something the fans will accept or be okay with? Like that would be a big hurdle in a more meta sense here. You're right. I think I personally like the let's fake the death thing at the end so he can just kind of retire, or just have him retire, right? That makes sense too.
Okay,
But like,
so you're saying about the death that they would ask us to accept is the death of Ethan himself?
potential, that would be that's a big hurdle, right? To like,
It is,
let's kill the main character.
Yeah, but we also just saw Iron Man and James Bond die. So I don't, if they do the move of killing Ethan Hunt, it will not have exactly the same power because other franchises have pulled that in recent memory.
To an extent.
I I don't I think the spirit of what Tom Cruise and Christopher McQuarrie are doing together is this spirit of gritted teeth and I am going to make it work. You don't know a lot about Star Trek, but in Star Trek, Captain Kirk got his position as the captain on the USS Enterprise. When you're in Starfleet, you have to take a test called the Kobayashi Maru, where you're in a simulation where you are the captain of a fictional ship called the Kobayashi Maru, and there's all these different crises. And the test is, how do you accept a no-win situation? How do you handle when you know somebody is going to die and there is no way out of it? And Captain Kirk hacks reprograms the Kobayashi Maru so that nobody dies. And that's how he wins. That's the ethos of this franchise. They're reprogramming the Kobayashi Maru. Nobody dies. Forget your stakes.
Interesting. Yeah.
They refuse to accept normal narrative stakes where somebody is to die and there have to be losses. No, we're going to play act that, but that's not true. We're making our own fantasy escapist world where men can like climb the Burj Khalifa and hang on to planes. And in our world, all of our friends are still alive.
And you will believe an old man can run that fast.
I believe it every day.
Oh man, good stuff. Good stuff. I say we wrap things up right there. This has been a good one. Good, interesting variety of stuff in our episode today. So, indeed. Cool. Well, Melissa, where can the people get in contact with you? Where can they tell you their Mission Impossible 8 theories?
Please email me at yourhostmelissa@gmail.com. Let's compare all the various quotes we have collected that thematically support Ilsa Faust as a character and her arc that is yet to be completed.
Good stuff indeed. If you guys want to stay up to date with me, I am at Yo Kyle Springer. And if you'd like to follow us here at the Whatnauts and all the stuff that we do, we are at thewhatnauts.com on Blue Sky. So please go like, share, and subscribe. That would help us out a ton. For watching this on YouTube, go check out more of our videos right over there on that side of the screen. That would also help us out a bunch. We are inching ever closer to episode 300. This has been 296. We will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.